Karen, and I'm just here at Versova Beach, Mumbai. That's in Andheri. So I just wanted to come online today just to share what the Lord puts on my heart. I hope everyone is doing well there and having a great time. God put on my heart to speak was like that it's very important always to be on the righteous path, in Jesus. When you come to Jesus, you encounter Jesus in your life, and then you get to know Him even more. So as you get to know Him even more, you get to know His ways even more in your life, and that is what is most important, is following His path, following His ways, His righteous path. Because the world can always drift you away from Jesus, and sometimes, many times, try to tempt you this side or that side, or to drift you away from Jesus. But that's why Jesus always reminds us that it's important to walk on His righteous path and to always be on His righteous path. It's so much important in our lives to follow that, because when we know that is when we are actually following Him and not the worldly ways. He is the best thing that can ever happen in anybody's life, and His love is so great for you. You cannot even understand that, how much great His love is there for anybody. But He has great love for you. John 3:16. God sent His only Son Jesus on the cross just for you. That is how much God always loves you. And when we are following Jesus, we follow Him with a genuine heart. We follow Him with our full heart, not just half-heartedly, but we follow so that we're actually following Him with a righteous heart. We're righteously following on His paths. Put your focus more on Jesus rather than the things of the world, because then only God can actually guide you. God can actually lead you. And God can actually save you from a lot of kind of problems happening anywhere. But when you allow your focus to be on Him, when you allow Him to be in your midst, and when you're just walking on His righteous path, that is when you're actually going along with Him. You may be led in a small way or in a big way, doesn't matter, but God's plan is working out. That's what matters. But that is how God is also molding you and leading you everywhere. And it's very important to walk according to His plans, His ways. His righteousness is something that speaks everywhere. That is Him on the cross. The cross speaks it all. If He was, God just didn't send His Son on the cross just like that. There was a big reason for all that happening. But His Son was the biggest sacrifice just for you. Can you imagine such a big kind of sacrifice that was? But He showed His power when Jesus came back to life on the third day. And His love for you is great. There is Jesus who sees you, everything about you. And somehow Jesus was telling me that make it a point to be more and more on His righteous path, because that is more important. Because the things of the world, everything of the world can actually try to put your focus away from Him, can actually try to drift you away from Jesus. But that is when every time Jesus comes and constantly reminds you, He wants your attention to Him. He wants your focus to Him. He wants you on a righteous path. So you're kept safe from any kind of evil of the world. The world is always in darkness, but Jesus is the light in the world. And when you are following Him and your focus is totally on Him, then you're like in His light. So the darkness cannot come and take over you, but you're there in His light and you overcome the darkness in the world. And it's so good to be with Jesus. When you are with Him, you can actually feel His presence just by taking His name. He has given His name to each and every one who wants to believe in Him, who believes in Him, and who wants to take His name and pray. Know His love more. Keep your focus more on Him. Walk more on His righteous path. He loves you so much is what I can tell you. How He wants you, so that one day it's like you're actually saved from many of the darkness in the world. That's the kind of God that He is. It's you. He protects, He saves you, and He looks after you. And you may not always understand His ways, but His ways are higher than any of our ways. He's a great God, I can say. Any kind of situation of mine, He's always looking after me. No matter what, always protecting me, always guiding me. Somehow He put it on my heart today to tell you that it's His ways, His righteous ways, which are more important. And to be in Jesus, you have to always be on His righteous path and not let anything of the world try to take your focus off Him, try to make you drift. Whether you're doing ministry or just praying for somebody on the street or just even a simple thing that you're doing, it doesn't matter. But you're doing God's work at the end of the day, accomplishing His purpose, and that's what matters. Matthew 7:13. The narrow gate. His path is like a narrow path always, and wide is the way of destruction. He's always like telling to be careful of the things in the world. But follow His way, follow His path. It may look like going through tough times, but when you have Him with you, all those tough times become less tough. They become easy with Jesus. He will easily take you through the narrow path because He is taking you. Otherwise, the enemy just tries to tear and wear you down. And you're like completely, you get worn out. And you either fall down or you either get torn. You can actually feel that weariness. But when you come in the presence of Jesus, and you come and you're constantly being on His righteous path, that is when everything is easy because He is there with you. He makes things easy for you. He's the light in our darkness. He puts away the enemy's plans. He puts away any kind of things that the enemy tries to plan. And behind the scenes, God has always been working. That is why He's telling me to tell you all, like, be constantly on His righteous path. Don't let everything of the world try to drift you. But when you're constantly on the righteous path, you're there walking along with him. And then he is guiding you, he is protecting you. And he loves you so much. He will never forget his love. He will always try to protect you from any kind of evil of the earth. He's a great and loving God. Not many people know. But there's me and so many others telling about Jesus everywhere. Because he has done things in our life. He has made us overcome battles. But it was not possible without him. But it was possible with Jesus. God is a great God. He wants what's good for you. And he's telling you mostly to be on the righteous path, because that is where he can protect you from any kind of evil. That is where he can have your focus on him, where he can have your attention to him, where he can work in you and help you and mold you according to his purpose. He always has a plan for each and every one. But you have to go and walk on his righteous path. Otherwise you don't get manifested in his plan. You're just going around in some world plan, which will not work out. Any kind of the world's plans are not going to work out. But it's only his plan at the end of the day that stand against any storm. Because he is great. He made the earth. He made you. And he loves you. Be more on his righteous path always. And let him guide you. Let him protect you. And don't get drifted to any of the worldly things. The worldly things will always be there. When you're walking on his righteous path, you're walking in his presence. You're walking in his focus. Your focus is on him. That time the enemy will not have also his way, because your full focus is on God. God will be guiding you, and it's best to be in his presence. You have no idea. It's really good to be in his presence. You can feel the peace and love of Jesus, which is much more greater than anything, greater than accomplishing any kind of ministry or any kind of thing. His love that is there with you, and when you encounter that brings peace more than anything else in the world. So always be on his righteous path. Be with him. Don't allow any enemy to take hold of you. Allow Jesus in your life, because he loves you and he will guide you properly and he will lead you properly. God bless.